Fired up, footballers. Welcome back to another episode of Spitting Fire. Yeah, Ozzie Guillen, that's pretty sweet. That's a pretty sweet little jersey you have there.
The best, though.
Ozzie Guillen.
Ozzie.
Great on 670 The Score in the morning with Mully and Hanley, by the way. But real quick, we're going to talk transfers. The transfer window is open. The Fire currently have made 3 moves, counting Alexander Katai. So they picked up Alexander Katai. Okay, moving on. And then they also signed Nicholas Del Greco, so that's old news.
A mystery center back from Argentina, third-tier league, who was moved over to Olympia FC over in
Honduras.
Not in Honduras. In Honduran league?
Yeah.
Okay, in Honduran league. And he was apparently good enough to start against Red Bull New York.
Yeah.
And then also good enough to finally be cut when they realized
they got a new coach.
couldn't win.
They got a new coach, and they had a row and falling out. So I don't know.
A number of the international players had a row on that particular team.
Essentially what we're saying is we have a mystery center back. We don't know if he's going to be a first-team selection or reserve or sub. We'll see.
I know some things about him. I know that he hasn't been playing lately. I know that he didn't play the other day. He's probably been practicing with the club.
Was an ex-captain in Argentina,
he was an ex-captain,
right?
But he hasn't been playing lately. So it's going to take him a few games to get him up to game speed. And how good is he? I don't think he's going to be as good as Campbell, but maybe he's good enough to push Campbell to excel into another level.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I mean,
we won't even know if this is an option that we can, a transfer that we can even count.
Correct.
You know? So, but we do have a real big transfer.
Who knows if he's even better than Lillard?
Yeah. We don't even know how good Lillard is. We've seen like 4 or 5 games.
Exactly.
So, Canadian winger / left wing back Raheem Edwards was acquired for $400K in TAMS. We have his contract through 2018 with the club option of 2019 through 2020. And yeah, what do you think about that, James? So pretty big signing.
23-year-old kid has some potential to him. Came through with Toronto. And he's moved around a few times, but the kid has some potential. He's got some pace. He's also can play a few positions. Left back is where he was really excelling with Toronto, and he also can play the wing and the left wing and the right wing. Over in Montreal, they had him playing on a right wing because they have Piatti mainly maining the left wing over there. And he wasn't really very effective on that right wing. He's more effective probably on the left wing and with his left foot. The real question after our discussion our last video, I was starting to think if they are going to go get our next rumored target, which is João.
Wait. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit more about Raheem. So what I think is really nice about bringing in Raheem is that he's we might have overpaid.
But you're paying for potential.
What did we get? Dax. We got Dax for around that money. Chani,
can't compare those deals.
Chani, I think we got like for $350K.
You can't compare those deals.
So yeah. People online, people on Twitter saying it might be a little steep, but it seems like the risk might be worth the reward.
Yeah.
So he can play multiple positions, and more importantly, he's something the Fire don't have: an athletic, pacey winger / wing back. But that goes into where you're saying. So is he going to play a winger, or is he going to be a wing back?
I'm starting to wonder if some of these plays are more so for the future that we're seeing on the field, because we've seen Brandon Vincent play 2-3 games at left back. I'm starting to want, and we've seen him play the majority of the season over at right and center back. And we still have not re-signed Johan Kappelhoff, who was in the final deal of his contract. I'm starting to wonder if Johan's gone next season, they're going to move Brandon Vincent over to where Johan is, or keep him where he's at, and then bring in whoever's the next up-and-coming defender and run Brandon Vincent as a center back, let Johan go, even though I think, and you think, Brandon Vincent is not a center back, nor he's not even close to an MLS level center back. Not even close.
My thoughts on that, I would not be surprised if Johan's gone. Would not be surprised if he's gone.
And then Campos is our right back.
Gosh.
If Plata comes.
I don't think, there's no way. Going into the season, Brandon Vincent playing center back was not on the mind of Nelson Rodriguez, was not on the mind of Paunovic. So I think he's playing center back just because he trusts him or just thinks he's better than a Campbell, better than a Lillard, better than a Dean, better than an Ellis.
But he's not.
So, and he doesn't want to play Basti there. So I think that's just, I don't think this is really prepping for the future. I think this is more so just that's what Pauno think he is his best option at the time. But you're right, with Edwards, if he's playing left back, and that was his more successful role when he was playing in there at Toronto, I mean, logic dictates you think he would be playing left back. That's where he'd continue to play. But Brandon's still on contract here for a couple more years. Pono likes Brandon. He's been playing a lot, so we'll see. But I think Brandon has to play left back, and then maybe Edwards is going to be that left winger. But
I think
who knows? Who knows?
This idea is at least predicated on the idea if they do go get a João Plata to play the
that's
other
the
wing.
rumor, João Plata.
Then,
I was about to ask him.
Then
you know,
Raheem Edwards no longer has to play a wing, and you got your two wings solidified between Katai and Plata, and you have your striker and Nico, and you play a three-man midfield. And so, where do you put Brandon and where do you put Raheem?
Mm-hmm.
You put Raheem at left back. You put Brandon at center back. And next season, when Johan's gone, and Raheem's still your left back,
Who knows if Basti will be back?
who's going to be right back at that point?
Polster's contract's
Is
up,
it going to be
right?
Campos? Is Campos going to lock down the right back spot?
Let me ask you this: you brought
I
his
think
name up.
Campos
You
is gonna
brought
play
his
right
name
back,
up.
though,
You
I
brought
think.
his name up. The rumor has it João Plata from Real Salt Lake is being connected to the Men in Red. So he's a
5'2".
left winger striker, can play the opposite, can be an
Not
inverted,
really a striker, 5'2".
Yeah, I mean he can kind of play striker, but
Center
he
forward,
can
yeah.
play an inverted wing, can play cam. So another winger. So if we do bring on a player like João Plata, you're right. That automatically makes
Campos-
you assume that Edwards is going to drop back into the left fullback.
And Campos is a right back.
He wants Campos to play.
Yeah.
And we need someone to play right back. So
And we need somebody offensively
Campos
inclined.
and maybe Edwards as our fullbacks, and then Brandon would be your center back with Cap going forward.
Or
So,
Campbell.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, maybe this rumor has the writing on the wall. I mean, the fact that they are going for a winger maybe lets you know that Edwards might be playing left back. So
I thought that was curious. One other interesting rumor mill that was put out by Stamp Stexel. Minnesota United came in for Dax McCarty last week.
Get
Came
outta
in
here.
for him, quickly rebuffed, quickly turned away, and rightly so, probably.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they brought in Katai, Greco for free, $400K worth of TAM for Edwards. Rumor is João Plata might be coming here. We'll see. And then some other rumors that we've heard throughout the transfer window. Leighton Baines, haven't heard that name in a while. Frankowski, haven't heard that name in
Not
a
if
while.
Plata's coming.
Torres, that rumor was, it's put to bed. Casillas, that rumor was put to bed.
Ochoa's still out there.
Ochoa's still out there. You never know. That is where I think he might go. Nelson might go next. If you recall, in his infamous press conference where he said the Chicago Fire is a community of positive momentum, in that press conference, he said that he's looking for 3 more signings: an attacking option, which might be João Plata, defensive option, which might be Edwards / Del Greco, and then a goalkeeping option. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Nelson get a goalkeeper. My next question to you is, James, it's 2. Will Nelson get a goalkeeper this transfer window?
Needs to.
And how many more moves do you think Nelson will make?
It really comes down to whether they're international spot takers or not, too.
Yeah, there's so many of
Because
them.
there's so many of those. They have to solve that. There's going to be a lot of action coming here in the next few weeks because a couple of these kids are going to have to loaned out because there's not enough room on this current roster.
Probably Becerra with his last performance.
Becerra probably is going to be loaned out. You could probably loan out Mo Adams. You could probably loan out Collier. You could probably... Who else can you loan out?
Probably hold
You
on
could
to
loan out-
Collier.
You could loan out Lillard.
Lillard hasn't been around yet.
could look-
Lillard's an American.
You
so
know
it
what you
doesn't
really
matter.
need to do? What we really learned in this last match is that Stephen
Ramos.
Cleveland is not even an option. You need to get that
Yeah.
kid down to Tulsa so he could get some time. But even
Especially
sending
with
him
the
to
way
Tulsa,
Richard's playing, if he's not even...
if he's not even an option, then you got to send him down to get him some time. But the question is, he's going to get time at Tulsa because there's a really good goalkeeper already there.
But I don't know
in his way.
I don't know if so. Yes or no? Will Nelson get a goalkeeper this transfer?
I think so.
So yes. And my next question is, how many more moves? Will that be the last move? Will a goalkeeper potentially be the
We're
last
going to see some
move?
trades. We're going to see some people possibly leaving the Fire. I mean,
so who's even a trade target on this team?
who knows?
Chani, I guess.
Chani could fill in for somebody, but do you want to let him go now?
Who else?
Because he's been so useful for
Lucho's
us.
hurt. He can't really trade a hurt guy.
can't
MDL's
trade
not
MDL.
around.
Can't trade Georgie. You don't want to trade it. You don't want to trade Georgie.
Who else do we even have? Do we have any strikers that we can sell?
Gordon,
Gordon,
who's
no one's
good
going to
for
want
10
him.
minutes.
Any extra center mids?
Um,
I don't think you're
Drew
in
Connor.
training mode. I don't know what trade. Who
Matt
are
Polster. They
who
don't
are
really
gonna
have trade. They don't really have trade bait.
Who can they trade?
They got Tam. That's all they got.
Yeah. So we'll see. I really hope, to answer my own question, yes, I hope they sign someone better than Richard. Hopefully Del Greco is a better center back than what they have. But I want another defensive option, maybe a right back, to solidify that right back role, because I think that has really been hurting him this year.
It might
and
get
then a
that
goalkeeper.
next season.
So I would like to see 2 more transfers, maybe a right back and maybe a goalkeeper.
The most important thing for me, goalkeeper, center back. I'm not depending on Del Greco. I'm not depending on Brandon Vincent. I'm getting a partner for Johan Kapelhoff that he wants to stay and play with.
Well, we've given up 41 goals. We've conceded 41 goals in the MLS. That is the second most. So people are clamoring for a 10. Well, we've scored the 9th most goals this season, but we've given up the second most. So Columbus, I think we've scored more goals than Columbus, yet they've given up drastically less. So we really don't need to score more goals. We just need to give up less, concede less, and upgrading in Richard, solidifying that center back spot next to Cap, and then figuring out those 2 fullback spots. I mean, that's really what the Fire need to figure out in these next couple of weeks in the transfer window.
Going back to Dax real quick, I mentioned in a video past, I speculated on the idea that he could potentially leave the Fire next season. The only team I really see him going to is 2 teams. And they're both New York Red Bulls or New York NYCFC.
That's where his wife's from.
I don't see him ever actually going back to really New York Red Bulls, though. If he does go to New York, it's going to be NYCFC. And maybe that's why maybe Minnesota was intrigued to potentially reach in and try and pluck him away from the Fire. But if the Fire were thinking about letting him go,
does that mean he's unhappy here? If a team reached
I wonder if they'll do him a
out?
favor and they'll send him back to New York because that's where he and his wife want to go. Maybe the Fire will do him a solid in that way, or he's going to be here next year, and I would rather him be here next year.
That's pure speculation.
That's just pure speculation.
But you wonder if an MLS team kicking the Fire tires on Dax McCarty.
What does that mean?
Makes you think that he's a little unhappy here. So. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see.
And well, not to mention, you visibly see it on him.
I don't know. That might just be his demeanor. He's just
He wasn't like this in his first year.
Yeah, you're right.
He's turned.
But it's for everyone, and even for us fans, it's been a hard year of fandom.
It's been so hard
being a part of this.
The biggest thing
club.
is Nelson Rodriguez has derailed this season.
Yeah,
single-handedly.
This is stuff that he should have done
by failing that winter window. We had 2 or 3 more quality MLS caliber players on this squad. We're not having these USL type problems every game.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Fill the holes.
There's still huge holes, huge voids that were evident in the beginning of the year, even before the first game was being played.
Before we even lost David Accam, we still didn't have a right winger.
Matt Polster, you didn't know about.
We didn't have a right winger last year. We thought Lucho and MDL could fit in there.
Yeah.
We've been saying for
so we still have that
months
Cam
that they're
hole.
not good enough to play right winger actually and be dangerous. No, we had a hole at right winger. He never filled. He created another hole in David Accam and then filled it with Katai properly, a better player actually. Created a hole but left all the other ones unplugged.
But you're right. Essentially, what I'm hearing is that right winger spot we never filled, that Cam role we never filled, that right back spot, which I guess it popped up because Polster was hurt. I guess we never filled that. That happened during the season. We never filled that center back spot with Jao Miera, and then you never you haven't filled a true goalkeeper since Sean Johnson left. So a lot of those questions are questions from the previous 2-3 seasons, and we're trying to fix them halfway into this season. So Nelson definitely has dropped the ball in his department. That's for sure.
Awfully so, to the point where he's reinforcing positions of strength on this squad instead of addressing the giant gaping holes. We have 6 defensive midfielders. Here's a 7th in Chani. We have 7 strikers. Here's an 8th in Alan Gordon. And no, by the way, we're not going to sign Joey Calistri, who could be a young gun coming up behind, who could get some training behind Nico. And eventually, when Nico is too old to be, we have Calistri ready to go. But no forward thinkers in the Fire front office up top. Nelson Rodriguez is an office.
How about our reliance on draft picks?
Over-reliance.
Caro, Collier.
On a draft that they didn't even scout, apparently. They didn't even scout this draft.
Polster.
Nelson said that himself.
Daniel Johnson.
Terrible pick. Julian Gressel sitting right there.
Brent Bronico.
Great pick.
Who else for some? I'm missing some.
Collier, 3rd round pick, is being played over first round top 5 pick.
They hit on some.
But draft stock, where you're drafted, is no indicator of true talent.
Merely, my complaint is just the over-reliance on the kids. The over-reliance on the kids and the homegrowns.
Half this roster is.
And then when they're not good and make the roster, you have no place to send them. So.
And you have no place to send them because you don't have a
Let's circle back to this episode,
James. And your agreement with your USL club, Tulsa, is at best a tacit handshake that, hey, we'll take your guy if you send it to him. We don't have to play him, but we'll take him.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. That's
And they
good.
don't even play the same style as the
circling
Fire,
back
too.
to our original topic about transfer update. So, any last final thoughts about transfers for you, James?
Fire, go.
We need a couple.
If Sanchez
We're not done.
could figure it, if
We need a
Sanchez,
goalkeeper.
you could live with Sanchez as your goalkeeper, but you're going to put yourself in so much of a better position for a potential playoff push and run if you get a better goalkeeper there. Also, a number of questions is, are these new players coming in going to be U.S. Open Cup eligible? Apparently, João Plata, if he does come over, he would not be. Mm-hmm. So if the main push for silverware is our U.S. Open Cup push, João Plata is a waste of an asset or a waste of resources because he's not helping for that actual push for that trophy, which we all agree is the lesser of two trophies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, I think you said it all. That's all I got from me.
You got it? You know?
No. That's it.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll
All right,
see.
boys and girls, let us know what you think. Fun talk and interesting analysis. Toss a like if you enjoyed it. Add your comments below. We're always interested, and we'll see where this goes.
We need more transfers.
We need a couple
At least
trades.
2.
We don't even have roster spots.
Yeah.
We don't have roster spots. We got to open up roster spots. We have 10 internationals with 8 international spots available. So it means two guys can't even
have to
play
pay
right now.
for one.
They got to either pay for one or they got to trade or they got to loan some guys out. They got to loan some of these kids out.
All right, we'll see you though, guys. Thanks
All right,
for
guys.
watching.
We'll see you guys later.